So I think I will take some credit, get people to, huh?
Welcome
The
everybody.
topic today, yeah, our producer just reminded me today's topic is growing Paphiopedilum Michael Koopowitz here. And actually, if you can grow up Michael Koopowitz, you can actually grow any of the multifloral. Uh, so I think many of you, I think even Linda Earl, she's an expert in growing lady slipper now, Paphiopedilum. Uh, so we started a couple years ago that encouraged people to grow the single flower one, the multi type. Like this is the species. They're both species. So I'm sure you, but there are two type of multifloral. Actually, anything that can give you more than one flower is multifloral. There are some species will give you two flower. For example, this Venustum alba under good culture, good feeding. If you follow my recommendation of the fertilizer, Norman's Optimal Orchid Food, you can get a care package here, right here, and the Mega Dry. A lot of time, even the single flower species can give you a second flower, like this Venustum alba. Okay, it's all type and breeding. We always use the best parent uh, for breeding. So a lot of time, Venustum alba, which rarely give you more than one flower, but under your TLC, given the optimum fertilizer and the help, it's not unusual to see her have the second flower. Okay, so this is mainly culture. Then you have some species that Paphiopedilum pulmonatum alum. This is the type of tropical. They usually have one flower at a time. Very rarely they have two flowers at a time. So what this does is they flower one flower and maybe lasts for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then the thinness, they drop it, and then the flower, they keep going. So the entire spike can have about good 3 to 4 months, depending on your temperature. If you give the optimum good grow this type, or the multi type, or the single flower species, is you can grow indoor, okay? Uh, Especially if you go under light. And make sure you use Jeff light. If you go under light, because you have more control on the temperature, humidity. There's nothing wrong. You can also grow this outdoor, in particular in South Florida, for example, in Florida. They actually they can hardy down to about 55 night temperature, but just put it not out in the open shade, but by the under the gutter of the house. The wall by the house is not going to put out a lot of heat, and the concrete on your floor will also retain some heat also. So once you done this, the difference between growing this type of lady zipper, the multi type, versus our topic today, the Paphiopedilum that Michael Koopowitz. So the distinction, I'm putting two separate because in our nursery we had two Michael Koopowitz. Okay, so there's Michael Koopowitz primary using the Michael Koopowitz is actually is a primary hybrid registered by Pathfanatic, by Hiro Koopowitz and Naruto Hasagawa, and Michael Koopowitz is Hiro's son, and so it is the primary hybrid. Primary hybrid means they are using two species together. So this particular here is Philippensis and Sanderiana. Okay, one of the Philippensis is a species from the Philippines, and the Sanderiana is a species from Indonesia. That is the species responsible to give you the really long petal. Okay, if you, I think last year or one of these, we did the one on the Sanderiana before. So if you go back to some of the older podcasts, you will see the one on the Sanderiana. I'm going to show you what we have right now. This year is really early. I think we have a very hot summer. So traditionally, this one flower for about February, March. They actually 1 month earlier, but hey, I take it for whatever they are. So this one here is a species. So when we have, and this one here, 255, is Michael Koopowitz A crossed with Michael Koopowitz B. So when you have two Michael Koopowitz together, is what we refer as sibling. So this one here is more toward the species and species together, and this one here is sibling. So we have I think if you look at the website, they all have corner name on that. Okay, the two different is in general this cross, because it's a selection from a primary hybrid. So we take out the best of the longest one. If you like really long petal, this is the cross for you. Okay, so this is what we call sibling. And then from this sibling this year, I'm going to do another selection. I'm probably going to take out, like this one here, had the really white petal. Okay, in judging, we want the white petal and see how dark they are. And they're still growing. This is actually only open about 6 to 7 days only. So you want to make sure when they are start flowering, they were on the bench earlier. So if I leave it on the bench, okay, you do sometimes they actually grow 2-3 inch a night. A night is amazing. So you want to make sure they're not tangled. A lot of times they might stuck here, and the growing tip on the petal is actually at the tip of the petal here. So any of the tip stuck on the leaf or on the bench, they will stop growing. So as soon as they are start spiking, I usually I will raise them up, and also make sure they're not stuck on the petal, and just really let them growing. Okay, and at this time, and there's a little bit of trick on the spiking, on the flower spiking. In the fall, right about November is when you really want, in order to, by November and December, it's getting cloudier, it's shadier, and I'm assuming that we go in the greenhouse. If you're under light, no problem. But even if you go under light, you can actually benefit by raise the plant. When I say by raise the plant higher, let's say if you go under light here, by raise the plant, just put a 4-5 inch pot underneath, so they are actually closer to your light stand. So that is the time versus us in the greenhouse, which is by we open the shade, so they will expose more light in there. So this is the time that you kind of tilting the plant, just like the species in the wild. Usually by the fall in monsoon in Philippines and Indonesia, the leaf might fall off, so there's more light coming down to the jungle. So they actually benefit. And never buy this type of lady zipper, the multifloral, in what I call the eyelash size. This is a single grow. I don't care what kind of plant. This grow is about 7 years old. It takes 7 years to develop to this. And this is what we call the premium mature side, because I can tell there's a flower bud here. I'm going to pass out to Jeff. Jeff, it's almost like printing. If you feel this down here, there's something down here, and you feel this up, there's a spike there. Jeff, you can see if you can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel.
You feel the bump, right?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
feel where it's at.
So right now, it's actually the best stage. Okay, I'm telling everybody right now, order. Linda, if you want to get one of these, anybody want one of these or not, get them in mature side or premium mature side now, because it's actually, you can flower them yourself. it's very difficult to ship this in flower because when it's shipped in flower, the petal is go tangle out, and then sometimes when you open it, it might break it. So I would prefer them. It's actually more economical. I think by next month or so, we will start selling them in spike, but they will be more expensive. So do it this now because this, I can guarantee you. Look at this, 7 years old. 7 years old. It takes 7 years old to mature. Okay. And if notice, all the one in flower also have a secondary spike coming up, secondary shoot coming up right here. And this will grow entire 2023, and the new grow from here will mature and flower for 2024.
What's the number on that one?
Okay, these are the 1255. Okay, if you ask me what's the difference between these two here, because these are what we call primary hybrid. They are both two to the species. In general, this cross here, the plant is more compact, and because we use the Philippinensis, a very compact Philippinensis, and with Rhopodinia form as a pot parent. So the plant will usually be more compact. And look at how small they are. This is still in a 4-inch pot. Okay, so this is why it's very misleading, and you buy orchid, especially the multifloral, by the pot size. Okay, we always ask what is the leaf span or how old the plant. I can bump this up and sell it to you as 8-inch pot or 1 gallon. It doesn't mean anything. If you buy the orchid in the pot size, that is a big no-no, because you might end up with a pot this big and the icing plant in a 6-inch pot. Okay, in a 6-inch pot size, and the leaf span is smaller than 6-inch, but they call it mature size. Don't let them misguide you. We always ask any good reasonable vendor always need to honestly tell you how old the plant is, and you can another way to judge the maturity on this multifloral is the leaf span. Okay, and so the light difference is they do require more light than regular Phalaenopsis. They actually can take more light than the regular Phalaenopsis. In terms of the Phalaenopsis, you will put it like with a standard white. Okay, standard white can usually take more light than any other thin leaf type novelty Phalaenopsis. Okay, so and then a healthy Philippiensis, the leaves should be erect like this and firm. If you are, there are some grower, they really want to stretch the leaf span. They go in really heavy shade and pump a larger urea form of nitrogen, like 30-10-10, and really stretch out the leaf span. But you will get a 2 leaf span with this big, but never get this 1, 2, 3 pair. Once you get to 1, 2, 3 pair of leaf, okay, 1, 2, 3, 6, that means they are blooming size. So if you just have leaf span only 1 or 2, okay, that is not blooming size. They just stretching out. Okay, so but the leaf under the heavy shade, high nitrogen, they only get 1 or 2 leaves. They are not mature size. They just stretching the leaves. So this is what I just want to share this with you. Be an educated grower, and that's why you are in this group. And I hope to share this with you through this channel later on a YouTube channel, because I've seen a lot of bad stuff on some of the a lot of even my customer got burned before. All right, so
Elaine is asking how much heat can they take?
Elaine, good. It is good for Orlando heat. Okay, they're from the Philippines, the Philippinensis, And then the Sanderiana itself is from the Indonesia, even though it's so you got one species Philippines take the most heat, but the Sanderiana is might be from the on the island of the Indonesia have a mountain, but they also give you the cold tolerance. So this is the perfect match. Okay, Sanderiana itself is not a story. It's a very slow growing species, but it also can tolerate cooler temperature. So that's why Michael Koopowitz is a good entry level if you want to get into multifloral. Okay, there's a lot of multifloral. I'm gonna put maybe tomorrow. There's no podcast. There's no Jamie doesn't have any jump on them. I will release something tomorrow. And I will put my recommendation of the big plant. But Michael Koopowitz, yes, it can take about. I have greenhouse. I have put this in my Catalina house. Okay, and I grow them with over 3,000 foot candle. That's why they're so strong. 3,000 foot candle of light, and the temperature in the Catalina house up to about usually about minimum 85 to 90. Okay, but I put it closer to the wet pad, and that house go down to 55 at night in the wintertime. And I have also tried it with down to about 50. Okay, the different, these are grow at two different greenhouse. You can tell this is at a warmer greenhouse, and this number here is actually growing at the cooler night temperature. So you can actually tell by the leaf color. I would not even break the leaf or cut the leaf off. This is part of the cooler night temperature. You will get a senescence, okay, of the leaf. Eventually they're gonna fall off, but do not cut off the leaf. You're gonna just let them do their thing, die back naturally, just like they would do in the nature. So if you get a plant that the bottom leaf is yellowish, there's nothing wrong with it. We always got customer like call Karen, scream, this is not acceptable. This is yellow, they're dying, blah, blah, blah. No, look at the tree, look out your window. The older leaf turn yellow. Also the orchid. And this also grow under brighter light and cooler night temperature. Okay, but this is the type of orchid that give you, look at how strong, how erect. And I did not have any. Look at the sheen. Can you see the sheen here? Mm-hmm. The sheen is from the natural wax of the plant. And remember, I always say less is more. We don't spray fungicide here. None of this got fungicide. The sheen, the natural wax, this is the best to protect pests and disease. It's very hard to chew on this leaf right here. Okay, so, and with bright light, look at the leaf here. Beautiful. And I will not repot this one until this finish. Usually on the first bloom, you'll get minimum 3 to 4 flowers only. But as it mature, the picture I show you, that 6 flowers on them, that usually take another 2 years from this stage. So if you, that's why when we sell the plant, we sell mature size. Okay, mature size means they are capable of flowering in a year. Okay, the premium size, that means they are usually about minimum 1 extra year. Okay, so this is like it buying the time, the experience, that how much the grower had to grow this plant on the bench. Okay, but I just really like the way the plant look, even when they're not in flower. Okay, how we doing so far? Okay, so if you have a greenhouse, this type of orchid in the fall, okay, you know these are spring bloomer. Okay, even though they flower early this year, by the fall, or you can actually move them to the brightest spot of your greenhouse. That could be facing east and salt. Okay, a lot of time when you're in the growing in the heat, if you are Louisiana, for example, in the greenhouse, or uh, Linda Earl, she's in Georgia South. Her summer is really hot and humid. They actually love that kind of temperature, but you have to put it in the shady location because you have high humidity, high heat, so you reduce the light. But if you go under light, you actually have the best control on this. And I usually like to water them early enough, so the most of the problem with there's not much pest associated with this because it's just too the mite don't like them because you cannot chew on them. You cannot, and they're so slippery. The mite is hard to chew on them. The only thing about them is the rotting, the crown rot. But that usually is associated with water stay in the middle of the crown. Okay, so there's not much problem in the greenhouse because you do have good air circulation. If you go under light, make sure you have an extra fan by the side to increase air circulation, or before you go to bed, make sure you tilt it, and then make sure the water doesn't stay inside the crown, and that will be okay. Or you can just simply take out a clean tissue paper and just damp it and then suck out all the extra water. The feeding, we feed them everything the same with our fertilizer, and every 2 weeks dilution with normal stocky food, and once and every other week, twice a month, we make it dry. Okay, any more question about this one here? Okay, do not buy the eyelash side. I said it again, because the eyelash side is very unforgiving, and it's not any cheaper, believe me, because
So
they just usually about less than a year out of flask.
when you have the mature size and it blooms, and then you have the secondary
Yes.
fan coming up, are you going to wait another 7 years for that secondary fan?
No, it just takes
For the initial.
yeah, initial maturity. Just like people, think about your kid. It takes what human take 18 years to be an adult, but this is about 7. But Paphiopedilum, and when you own a multifloral like this, you really own something really unique because most of the they cannot be tissue culture. So every plant is unique because you are the only one has it. Not your neighbor, not me, because every one of them is very, very unique. And then you can, this is a mature, this is the 2 flower. Okay, they're still young. And they get better with age. So once they're done flower, this was usually, judging this probably for flower until maybe March, April of a year. Okay, so once they start in flower, you guys actually move it away to your shadier part of your greenhouse. Okay, less. A lot of time people actually will hang this up in the winter time to get more light. Many years ago when I visited Terry Root at Orchids, it wasn't Watsonville, so he had his path in Santa Marina. He would hang them up so they get maximum light because Watsonville in Central California is foggy like San Francisco, so he will hang them up. But if you are in the Miami or hot area, you have plenty of light already, like Central Florida, for example. You don't want to hang them up. It will be, you will cook your plant. Okay, so you're the one that know your own growing area. So less is more. Once this is here is really high. This is for just for today only. After the talk, I will take it down because right here, the heat rises. I can just feel my head right now because I have black hair. It just absorb all the heat right now. So take it down, but we should just raise it high. Do not touch any of this here. Do not touch any of it because this is where the growing tips. This is the apical meristem for the petal, for the growing tip, and it will keep blooming. And by this, I will put in reduced light. Okay, reduced light photosynthesis, and give them plenty of water. Don't let, they are very thirsty right now. Remember, they can actually literally grow 2-3 inches a night. A night, it's amazing. So plenty of water. If you want to stretch the petal length, and in judging, the difference between getting the FCC, HEC, or bronze, or HEC, or AM, we judge the width of the petal, the color, and also the length. In this type of breeding, the length is everything. So I have seen one of my best experience, and when I was in Taiwan before in 2017, I saw a Paphiopedilum Sanderiana with 36 inches long. The owner had to keep raising the bottom higher and higher because and then just like I said, the trick is he put in the shadier part of the greenhouse a lot of water, and don't be thrifty on the fertilizer. They need, remember, they can grow 2-3 inch a night. They use a lot of energy. Okay, so you gotta give it to them. And I seen them flower the Sanderiana up to 5 to 7 flowers on the big plant like this. It's amazing. It's one of the orchid that I'll never forget the rest of my life. But it is that good. Okay, so if you like to try something, try this two here. Okay, if you never grow any of the multifloral before, try this primary, because these are the two species together. Okay, and they haven't been manipulated by selection of this sibling. Okay, so this would really represent the both species. The heat tolerance from the Philippines, and then the Sanderiana from Indonesia, they actually can tolerate more cooler down to 50. Terry Root, where I visit him, his greenhouse, that he dropped that house because he grows some complex path, 55 to even 50. So they can do it. They can do it. I personally like to grow in brighter light, because I don't like those dark, crowded, and the really stretchy leaf, and it's just kind of floppy. So I've been growing this type of orchid for about 5 to 7 years now. So this is my conclusion for this type of multifloral, because once you grow them brighter light, you're gonna guarantee you you can get flower. It's just like the one that mature side. 1 to 5 to 7, 5 to 6 flower is how I can tell will have flower spike. Okay, so any of the plant we sell today on the website, I think we have less than 50 plant for both crosses, and once they're gone, they're gone. I don't have any. It might take another 7 years if we actually started making another hybrid from here today. But then I'll be 75. No, okay, no, but when you see something, this is when I at the orchid show, when I go travel to Asia, I always look for the biggest plant I can buy from the breeder, and then even I pay more money for some of their selected for me for breeding, because I have a responsibility to make sure, Jeff used to breed, golden shepherd, right?
Golden
retriever, yeah, garbage out. You don't want to have a puppy or baby to have a lot of problem on that. Okay, so this is what the label is very important. Okay, label. We also put down the corner name. Okay, notice here we put Michael Koopowitz variety fantastic cross with Michael Koopowitz XYZ. Usually, if you don't see a label, and the breeder don't even put the corner name, that tell you the breeder don't care. Or they could be just run of the mill. So almost like buying the puppy from the puppy mill. Okay, you don't know what they are. You don't know the parentage. And if the parentage have a award by the American Orchid Society, Japan Orchid Society, or any of the award system in the world, it's better than ABC. All right, and so have fun with the multifloral. I think if you associate with Paphiopedilum, just put them with the Phalaenopsis in the summertime. By fall, when mature side like this, get it more light, move them closer to your Cattleya, part of your greenhouse. And do not try to push them when they are young plant like this. It's not going to work. You have to have at least this leaf span, 30 inches, 3 pair, 5 to 6 leaves. That can tell this is truly 5 to 7 years old maturity on them. All right, thank you, and I will see you